Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dell EMC Networking, OMNM Tech Talk. Today's feature is going to be multi-tenancy, and we will have a question and answer session as a follow-up here. This is Bill Acevedo, and let's go ahead and get started here. So what is multi-tenancy? Multi-tenancy is the ability for an OMNM administrator to provide a limited or restricted view and access to the OMNM managed devices and feature set. And so typically this is useful in areas or organizations where you need to control equipment access to specific groups or individuals. And conceptually, you can think of these multi-tenant sites as sub-websites of the global OMNM application. And so a common example that I like to use is, for example, a campus type situation where you have a campus and you may have a North Campus, a West Campus, computer lab, or any number of parts of the network where people are maybe have a little administrator in each area managing a few switches or some devices in that area. So you may want to have them just have access to just those devices and not the entire network under the global management. And so that's where you would want to use these sub-websites and domains. So how does it work? As I mentioned, sites, they're also called domains. They are created, when you create those, and one or more OMNM devices, reports, or interfaces can then be assigned to the domain. And the domain assignment, along with what we call an access profile, controls the features that are going to be available to those users in that domain, in that multi-tenant site. The global OMNM admin can create sites and also designate a site admin. And so the site admin has full admin control over that subsite, and they can do the same thing as a normal admin at the global level. They're just confined to the devices and the access profile that's been provided to that site. So you can have an admin site, and then you can have actual users in that subsite if you need to have further control and have other users in that site. So once the site is created with users, the specified user then logs into OMNM using. We're going to see this here in a second. You're going to use the prefix. It's a two-letter domain identifier, and then their login name. And so that two-letter prefix is how we identify what domain they're logging into. So you could have multiple admin users with the username admin, but you would use this two-letter prefix so they would know that it's the admin on site A or site B. And we'll see that here in a minute. Portlets and applications can still be added to any page, but content will be limited by the assigned equipment in the access profile. The domain admin and users will only have access to the devices assigned by the global admin, or if the site admin discovers a device, they will also have access to that as well. The domain admin and users will have limited access to objects like reports, report templates, actions, contacts based on the access profile assigned to the site. So we'll take a look at that. So what are the steps for creating a multi-tenant site? So number one here is there's 3 portlets involved. And let's go ahead and add those now. But for your information, they're shown here. Site management, access profile templates, and user site access need to be added so we can create our multi-tenant sites. And you get to those by going to Add Applications. Let's go ahead and let me show you that. I've already added them to my page here, but you go to Add Applications. Under the Administrative section, you see Access Profile Templates. You see Site Management and User Site Access. So you can see I've already added those here. At the bottom here, I can scroll down here, you can see the user site access. Let me enlarge that. Okay, so the steps here are also outlined for you to create your new site. So we're going to go through this process here to create a new site. We're going to go to the Site Management portlet, and we're going to add a site. Then we're going to create an access profile template. We're going to associate that profile template to the site. And then we're going to test and review the site using a right-click option, kind of a test utility. I'll show you how to use that. And then I'm going to show you when we can log out and log back in and actually show you what the site looks like. So let's go through those steps here. I have some here created already, and so I'm going to go through the steps here first. We create a new site. Oops, we got to click Add up here, Add. I'm just going to call this Site 2, or I call it Site 4, because I've already got 3 there. And I'm going to call this Campus Site 4. And so I'm going to use the screen prefix here. This is the two-letter prefix that you're going to set up that's going to identify this site. We'll talk about templates later, but for now I'm going to use a blank page layout. just for this example, but I'll show you examples of the others. If you want a logo on this site, you could do that as well. Down below here, we want to assign a user to this, and so maybe we want to call this, you know, John Joe or something, John Joe, and their screen name is going to be JJoe, and give them an email address at some provider there, and then some password. Okay, so once you have this set up here, and what I want to do is I want to click Site Administrator. That will make this initial user a Site Administrator. They can go in and add stuff to this particular portlet or this particular subdomain. So I'm going to save that. Sometimes it takes a minute, but just to go back here, this is the first part here where we added the site and we assigned a user. Okay, and what we want to do next is create an access profile. So the access profile is going to give you access to specific objects. And you have a limited set of objects here that you can assign, but what we're going to do is we're going to add actions, and you simply go in and add whatever actions you think are appropriate here. And so I'm just going to grab some here just for example. Just add 3 here. And then I'm going to go back to my contacts and add some. Just done those contacts. And then reports, we can add reports that they'll have access to. Again, you can restrict those reports. You don't want them to have access to everything. Let's just say we want them to be able to run inventory. So I just want to pick those 2 reports. And then maybe we don't want them to have any template capability. They're only going to be able to run reports. So you can just save this. And it looks like, there's my site. There's my site right there that we just created. So now that we've created, the site's created, we've got the access profile created, we need to go associate that access profile with that, that site. And so we're going to take this profile here. Oops. Actually right up here. Access profile. And we're going to add test profile. Save. So now we have an access profile associated to that site, but what we don't have is any devices. The way you assign devices and resources to that site is you can go to the resource manager and you can select whatever resources you want to add to that site. Now, there's a way here to also see the what domains things belong to. And so there is a column in here called domain ID we can add. So you can see what domains are already assigned over here. And so I want to pick a couple of devices that aren't assigned already. I go to manage. Oh, we can only do one at a time. So we're going to do manage, domain access control. And this is where I can assign it to a domain. Save the site. Pick another one here, just so we have 2 in there. Domain access control, and then the site. Save. Okay, so what we have now is a site where the user has access to some devices, and we can do a quick test here to see what that's going to look like. So we can go to edit. I'm sorry, not edit. We want to go to site. So this is just a test utility here. And so what we see is we have a blank page here. We have nothing on it. Now, I could go and add portlets here, or I can log in as the user that 2-letter prefix and add them there. Let's go ahead and just add some here. So let's just say add page. I'll just add applications, and we'll add resource manager. Where to go? Manage resources. There we go. Add. I'm just going to keep it simple right now. We'll just add that one. And then just do a refresh. And we see there's the two devices that we just added. And so let me just log back out and log back in and show you what that would look like. I'm going to go back to OMNM, our main page. I'm actually going to bring this up on another page so I don't have to bounce around between the application. So this one's also on admin. I'm going to sign out. And so this is where our two-letter prefix comes in. So we go back to our site here. We see that we gave it a two-letter prefix here. We can edit this and look at it. CS. And so I'm going to log in as CS. And you see it put in the screen name here already. And it's JJ Joe. So we're going to log in as CS-JJOE. And password. And sign in. So I typed the password wrong here. Let me look at that again. Save that. It's going to take another second here to save that. Let's see if we can do that now. Okay, so now it's working. You get the normal field. Yeah, it doesn't matter there. Just so what we see is we have the page set up now, and they've only got access to 2 resources. And so what this admin can do now, since I'm the admin, I can go to Add Applications, and I can create any page I want here. I can do an Add Page and add a new page here, and then I can go to that page and I can add new portlets, just like you can if you were the admin on the other, on the main page. So I've added a couple here just for example. So you see here though, my actions now, I've only got access to the actions that we've applied through the access profile. If I add reports and report templates, if I add both of these, see, I've only got access to the 2 inventory reports that we assigned in the access profile. And then report templates, I don't have access to any. But since I'm in the domain, I do have the access to create a new template that I want. So now this admin, or this admin now can create their own templates. And by the way, the global admin will also have access to these. But they can create their own templates now, and they're confined to this site only. So let's take a look at some others that have been set up. Just as examples, I'll just do the right click. Rather than log in, I'll just do the right click. So here's one here where I had no template, and I basically added some portlets to it. Just a different layout. It's the Dell layout with the vertical menu and various things. Again, restricted by certain things. By the way, dashboard views are there, and you can create your own dashboard views, and what you're going to see is that, again, the targets are going to be confined to only the devices you've been given access to. So you can create your own dashboards and that sort of thing. And that's generally how the application works throughout. Any portlet you add, like for example alarms, it will only be alarms for the devices that you have access to. Let's take a look at, it can get a little tricky using that test tool where you're going back to. So you guys have to say go back to OMNM and back to multi-tenancy. And let's take a look at another one here. One of these I had a page template and a site template, and so let's go to that one. This is a page template where I just basically said by default I want all the pages, or this is a site template. Well, for any new sites that are created, if I use this template, it's going to automatically put UC Home as one page, Reports as the next, Network View as the next, and it's going to add these two portlets. I actually added this one for resource monitors. I wanted to show that the resource monitors is not a portlet that you can add. That's a global portlet that manages lots of devices, and you don't have access to modify monitors themselves from this multi-tenant site. But you do have access to read the dashboard views. It would be up to the administrator to assign performance monitors that are required. So that's there for a reason to show you that that can't be added. So that's a page template. And I think I should talk real quick about the templates in general. So when we created those new ones, you saw that you could assign a new template. When you create a new one, there's an option here for a page template or a site template. And so that just means that when you add a page, to that particular screen, it's going to give you a choice. Do I want to select a page template, or when you create the site, it will tell you, it'll ask you which site template you want to use. So you see here, I created some templates here for sites, and it'll give you an option here, or a page template here. And if you want to create those templates, I'm going to go to Control Panel. The global admin will need to set this up. But down here under Portal, there is Site Templates and Page Templates. I'll just briefly click on the Site Templates to show you the one I created. You just click Add and add one. And I can just show you what the template looks like. And so again, it's just the page set up with home, reports, and workflow, and the stuff we just saw. That gets automatically put on the site if you tell it to do that. And then the page templates, similar thing as when you add a page, you'll get an option to add that. And so see an example here of page templates. And again, of course, they're going to show up this way because it's just there's no data for these portlets right now. So so this is basically UC Campus Home is going to show up with these 4 portlets. And that's how you do multi-tenancy. I'm going to open it up to questions. If you do have a question, again, it can be on this topic or any other topic. We'll try to answer those. So go ahead and type it in the chat window if you want. If you have a question about this. All right, there's a question about access profile templates, and can one be assigned to another site? And when you do access profile templates, only one can be assigned to the site. So you'll notice here when you go to the when you edit one, so go to access profile, you can only select one here. And there's a question here: can a user belong to multiple domains? And that's a good segue into this last portlet, which I didn't really talk about. This user site access portlet will allow you to control that sort of thing. So normally a user that's created in one domain is only stuck in that domain. Now the global admin can see everything and he has access to everything, but users created for a domain generally do not have cross-domain access. And so you would use this portlet down here to create a new site access, some new site access rules. And let's say, for example, I wanted to give John Doe or J. Joe, I want to give them access or do some restrictions on their access. I can do things like permit or deny. Let's just leave it at permit here, but we're going to permit, for example, access to another domain. I can even give them to the top level domain if I want to. So your users can span multiple domains using this tool. Then you would just save that. There is a little wrench icon here, user site access. Oh, we'll talk about the site management is where there's a wrench icon that doesn't provide the normal wrench icon column control. Here's where you have the ability to also log the global user restriction. Basically, this is if you want to restrict this, you can allow. Let's look at the tooltip there. So check portal users will only be able to log in from the defined permitted networks. And so if you have a specific subnet or network, we're going to validate that they're coming from that network before we'll let them log in. And apply login restrictions to the portal admin. If check, the portal admin must log in from the defined permitted network, otherwise restrictions are ignored. So you can use these tools here to add those. You can also add exclusions. If you want to exclude specific IPs, you can use that as well. All right, any other questions? Can the site admin set permissions? Yes, the site admin, maybe I can go to one of these sites here. I'll go to something like this one here. Go to the site. So simply, they will have the ability to go to Control Panel, and you'll see here that They have all the access that the normal admin does to create users and control permissions, just like a normal admin, but they're going to be confined to the users that are already created within their system. Okay, I don't see any other questions. I think I'm going to wrap up this session. I want to thank everyone for attending. And we'll see you next time on the next Tech Talk.